This is a C5 Audi RS6 Plus from 2004, and I think it is one of the very best hot cars Audi has ever made. In fact, if you're after a bit of German modern classic performance, you should forget a BMW E39 M5 and get one of these instead. And in this video, I'm going to show you why. What makes this car so special is this glorious thing here. This bi-turbo V8 engine. Audi gave its naturally aspirated 4.2 litre 40 valve engine over to Cosworth in the UK, who fit 2 turbochargers onto it, some intercoolers, loads of other bits and pieces. The result, 450 horsepower. Now that's in the normal C5 RS6. This being the Plus has an extra 30 horsepower, so 480 in total. Also, it has 560 newton meters of torque, which comes in as low as 1950 RPM and stays with you all the way to 6,000 RPM. It is nuts. Apparently 0 to 60 takes 4.6 seconds, but we'll find out exactly what I can do with this car when I launch it a little bit later. Top speed restricted to 174 miles an hour, which may seem like a weird number, but actually when you convert that to kilometers an hour, it's 280, so it makes perfect sense. So this engine, it's got plenty of performance. Power builds from around 2,000 RPM and it just goes to the red line all the way up. It's so quick. I mean, you do not need a car to be any quicker than this. Granted, it doesn't feel quite as insanely fast as the modern C8 RS6 that I ran as a daily driver, but it's not far behind. And when you think about how little money you can actually get one of these things for now, you're getting so much bang for your buck. It is a good, strong engine. Plus, for a turbo, an old turbo at that, it is really responsive. Sounds pretty good as well, doesn't it? But what's it like when you're stationary? This Plus version of the C5 RS6 has an upgraded performance exhaust. I'm going to rev it up. Oh yeah, the good old days where Audis didn't have soft limiters. Time for a quick history lesson. So the C5 was the first ever RS6. In fact, it was the third ever RS car from Audi, the first being the RS2 and the second one, the B5 RS4. It was built from 2002 until 2004, and for the last 6 months of production, you were able to get this upgraded Plus version. Now, it was only available in Avant model. Avant obviously is Audi speak for estate. And the car, as well as having an extra 30 horsepower, had some other upgrades, which I'll explain in a bit. Now, one of the things about this Plus version of the RS6 is that it's quite rare. Audi only ever made 1,000 of them globally, and only 77 came to the UK. As a result, they hold their value pretty well. So a good one with about 70,000 miles on the clock will set you back about £25,000. This one with 20,000 miles on the clock, it's brand new almost, probably going to be around £40,000 to £50,000. However, don't worry, just get yourself a normal C5 RS6 and save a bunch of cash. They're pretty much as fast, 0.3 of a second slow to 60 miles an hour, and has a top speed of 155 miles an hour. Plus, you can get one from around £10,000 for a decent one, and £15,000 will get you a really nice one. Now, if you're thinking about buying an old RS6 or any used car for that matter, you're going to need to do a vehicle history check to make sure that it doesn't have a dodgy past. You don't want to be buying a car that's been stolen, it's been written off, it's got outstanding finance on it, or it's got dodgy mileage. And to do that, I recommend you use my friends at CarVertical. So I've put a link to their website in the description and my pinned comment, and if you use the code Watson10, you'll get 10% off. One of the good things about CarVertical is that you can often see crash damage photos if the car has been damaged and then repaired and put back onto the road. Here's an example of a car which was actually put back onto the road after being damaged, and you can actually look at the photos of when it was damaged before it was repaired. Now, you'd never know, would you? You'd never know unless you saw these photos. Now, I'm not saying that that car hasn't been repaired well, but if you've got the choice of buying a car that's been in an accident or one that hasn't, you're going to want to go for one that hasn't. So remember, follow the link in the description or my pinned comment to go to CarVertical and use the discount code Watson10. I took you around the design of the RS6 Avant. So it had a bigger roof spoiler than the standard A6. You also got your RS6 badging there, a deeper rear bumper with a fake diffuser lock. They're faking it back in 2004. What's not fake though? Oval exhaust pipes. They are 100% real. My favourite feature of the RS6 though are its flared wheel arches. They look wonderful. Now, alloy wheel size is 19 inches as standard, unless you're in the United States of America, then they start off with 18 inches. Now, that's the first and only time anything coming out of America has been smaller than you got in Europe. This being the Plus version, has the anthracite alloys, still 19 inches. It also has black roof bars rather than the satin finish ones of the standard RS6. Both cars did get satin door mirrors, which are actually made out of metal, which is really cool. And these side skirts. Oh, from this angle, this car just looks so good. Finally, at the front, you get a more aggressive bumper than the standard A6 with these big air intakes, which are all real. You also get RS6 badging over there, and this being the Plus version, you get blacks around for the grille. It also gets the xenon lights as standard, and this beautiful blue paint as standard as well. Love this colour. If you get in this car, get it in this colour if you can. Audi gave the Plus model an upgraded, sharper steering rack over the standard RS6. They didn't do anything to the automatic gearbox though, so it's the same 5-speed ZF Auto with a torque converter which drives all 4 wheels via Quattro permanent all-wheel drive. I'm sad to say it is the gearbox which is the weak point in this car. It really does feel its age, especially when you compare it to the 8-speed auto you get in the modern RS6. So I've just got it in normal drive. Kickdown's okay-ish, but sometimes it can be a bit thick when it's deciding which gear to put you in. Put it into sport and it's a bit better, it will hold onto its gears for longer so you can have a bit more fun. But really, if you want to have fun, you probably want to take control yourself and put it into manual mode. But then it's even worse. So I'm gonna change down a gear and the response is so slow. Look, I'm pulling the pedal, now, change, now, off we go. I'm gonna do it again. Change down now, pulling the pedal, yeah, there we go. Just so slow, and changing up is slow as well. Look, change up now, pull the pedal, and it's like a second delay. You almost have to factor that in to when you're driving. It just dilutes the fun somewhat. It's such a shame. Doesn't completely ruin it though, because the engine just makes up for it. The RS6 has double wishbone suspension at the front, multi-link at the rear. It sits 20mm lower to the ground than the already sporty S6, and the Plus model is a further 10mm lower to the ground. Obviously the springs and dampers are rated. In fact, the dampers have something called dynamic ride control. So what you got there is the left front damper
is connected to the leg bone.
Is connected to the rear right damper, and the right front damper is connected to the
arm bone.
Rear left damper, and a pump actually moves it all about between them to stop the car pitching or diving under braking and accelerating or rolling in the bends. The car is also fitted with beefier anti-roll bars than the standard A6. At the back you've also got an electronically controlled limited slip differential. So this generation of performance Audi had a reputation for being a big understeery mess, but is it? Doesn't seem to be. It actually turns in really sharply. The nose just darts into a corner. Look, here's another one. Turn it in, grips, bit of understeer and push, then accelerate out. Stays completely flat, it really does. No, it's not an understeery mess. I'm actually surprised how much better it is than I thought it would be. This car is fun through the bends. Okay, so it's not quite as playful as an M5, but you can't fault the performance and the way it steers. Back in the day, this was probably criticised for being numb, but I'm feeling so much of the road. You can feel it like talking to you. You can feel the bumps because it's a hydraulically assisted system and all the little bumps in the road are fed back through to your fingertips. The modern electric systems just dial all that out. You don't feel any of it. So there is a really great sensation that you get from this car when you're driving it. It is fun. A big powerful car such as this needs some big powerful brakes, and it's got some. So you've got 365mm discs up front, gripped by 8-piston Brembo calipers. At the back you've got 355mm discs gripped by single piston calipers. If you get the Plus version of this car, it has cross-drill brake discs for added performance, but then it is slightly heavier due to the fact it has some more kit as standard. It weighs in at 1,880 kilos compared to 1,865 kilos for the standard C5 RS6. For normal driving, the brakes are pretty good. They're not grabby, they're quite smooth and progressive. When you're actually on it though, let's say you're on a really twisty road, after a while heavy brake use does cause a little bit of fade, so you've got to watch out for that. Anyhow, let's see just how good the brakes are when it comes to stopping from 60 miles an hour. So I'm going to do a full emergency stop. Oh, bit of squirmage. How long did it take? 33 metres. That's actually really good. Gotta say, I love the inside of this car. It doesn't seem too dated considering it's like 20 years old. Well, apart from the infotainment system there. Old tech never looks good, but build quality is solid. I think it's actually better than current Audis. This was when they were at their peak. Now, the RS6 had some upgrades such as a perforated leather steering wheel with the RS6 badge on it. And I also like the fact there's no buttons on it anywhere. The steering wheel is just for steering. You've also got an RS6 badge there on the rev counter. Some carbon fibre, look, carbon fibre here as well. I like this, the carbon fibre cover for the manual parking brake. Oh yeah, handbrake turns are possible in this car if you turn the stability control off. And how's this for a old cup holder? But even that feels solid, like it. Speaking of which, check out the door pockets. Look at that, you got two. That must be expensive to make. Anyway, back to the upgrades on the RS6. So you've got RS6 on the kick plates and these gorgeous Recaro sport seats with Alcantara inserts. They really do hold your body very snugly indeed. I also like this, Alcantara headlining and Alcantara on the door inserts. One last thing to show you. How period is this? A small sunroof. That's hardly panoramic, is it? I love the fact that even in the rear of this car, the quality hasn't decreased like it does on modern cars. You've still got the same soft touch materials, you've got the same lovely sport seats. There's so much room back here as well, and it's very, very comfy. I like the fact that the rear windows are huge. They seem bigger than on a modern RS6, so you get a better view out. However, it feels brand new because it's done so few miles. This has got to be one of the lowest mileage, nice example, RS6 Pluses in the world. The only thing that really gives away its age is this cigarette lighter and of course an ashtray there as well. 2004, lots of people were smoking still. This is a proper practical performance car. The boot capacity is 455 litres. Now, wait a minute, that's 100 litres less than the current Audi RS6. Still, it's going to be big enough for most people. You see, I'm average in size, so if I can fit in here, so can most people. As a daily driver, this is pretty easy to live with. Visibility is great, and the car feels pretty small on the road as well. Smaller than a modern A4. It's just nice, easy to manoeuvre, to drive quick down a twisty road. There is one thing that's a problem there, and it's the suspension. So back in the day, Audi's performance cars were really criticised for having quite jarring suspension, and it's as though they filled the shock absorbers with wood rather than oil, because it does just pick up imperfections in the road. It just doesn't isolate the bumps as well as the modern RS6. So the C8 I had would actually glide over bumps far better than this, even though that was riding on 22-inch alloy wheels, and this is on 19s with much more sidewall on the tyre. Economy's not great on this either, so you're looking around 20 miles per gallon. But then that's the price you pay for all the performance. Last thing to do, launch the car. So let's see how close I can get to Audi's claim 0 to 60 time for the C5 RS6 Plus of 4.6 seconds. Specialist timing gear here. I'm gonna brake boost it and go. Oh, now traction control just kicked in there and killed everything. So that's gonna be slow. 5.73. I'm gonna try again with the stability control off. That's better. What are we going to do? 5.30, still 0.6 of a second off the pace. I'm going to give it one last chance. More brake boosting is required. Right, one last go, full brake boosting. That's better, much better. Come on! Sloppy gear change though. Whoa, take that, can't complain at that! 0 to 60, 4.65 seconds. That's impressive, especially when you consider how little you can get one of these cars for. Well, the normal version, but they're not much slower really, so wow. Okay, my final word. Overall thoughts on the Audi RS6 Plus. I've always loved this generation of RS6. It just looks so cool. And I'm surprised just how quick it still feels today, even by modern car standards. What surprised me the most though, the handling. It drove way better than I thought it would. It is a genuinely good fun car to drive. I reckon you need to buy one, and buy one quick, because these are only going to go up in value. Just get the normal one, don't bother paying the extra for the RS6 Plus. That's if you can find one anyway. And of course, get the history checked by using my friends at CarVertical. Links in the description and the pinned comment, and use the code Watson10 for a 10% discount. Now, let me know some other modern classic cars you'd like me to review on this channel. Put them in the comments, I'll read through them for inspiration. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel by hitting that box there, all right? The more subs I have, the more reviews I'm likely to do here. And if you click on the video windows, you can watch some more videos. Thanks for watching.